What's up, Fit Fam? Coach Rye from Team Flex here. Today we're breaking down 2023 Bikini Olympia, and we're talking about the criteria, the placings, why athletes place this way versus that way, and what this all means for you moving forward into the 2024 season as a competitor. For those of you that don't know, the Olympia sets the standard, it sets the tone. Judges basically get to place the top athletes in a very specific way to say, hey, this is exactly what we are looking for in this division. These markers, these things, we want to see you have those. No matter what level you're at, this applies to you. You don't have to be an Olympian for the Olympia criteria to matter to you, right? Like if it's your first competition and you're going to stage for the very first time, judges are still judging in that same criteria, in those same ways across the board, no matter what you're doing, okay? So very relevant video for any of you out there trying to learn, trying to be your best competitor, moving into your season and win your shows, to get a pro card, to go beyond, and all for you coaches out there too. You're gonna learn some stuff here today, okay? So make sure you're subscribed. This is one of like 500 other Olympia videos I got planned to really give you a lot more in-depth knowledge. We're gonna keep cycling through, and I got tons of great content on the channel, so make sure you're subbed, because literally YouTube suppresses me, you guys. They don't like the bikini girls, they hate the wellness girls, they hate all this stuff, they suppress my channel. And so, you know, I'm not getting the views that I could be, or the subscribers any in that capacity. So whatever you can do to subscribe, share, that helps me a ton. All right, without further ado here, let's get to it. So we're going to talk about all the placings, basically top 5 and what the criteria is. And we're going to start down here. So here's our 5th place, Issa Piccini, okay? Issa is a former Olympia champion. We got Laura Lee here, who has been in the top for a very long time, taking 4th. And then we move up the chain after. The call-outs are kind of lined out different. We'll talk about Jen, Maureen, and Ashley in just a minute. But let's start here with our kind of 4th, 5th place, okay? So if we look at this call-out, we'll see as we go out 6th, and, you know, so on and so forth, out the line, all the way kind of in this top 10 zone. So basically what we're looking at is the top 5 physiques have a very similar look in a lot of ways. And the top 3 very especially have a similar look. A lot of people wondering though, how did Issa and how did Laura Lee land in this kind of 4th and 5th spot in this second kind of call out, if you will? It's still basically a first call out because it's top 5, but you know, it's not the top 3 final confirmation scoring that we're going to talk about in a sec. So the way that I think this came down had to do with basically the overall balance and structure of the physiques, okay? So for example, Issa, I think that, you know, she brought a little bit too of a muscular look in a sense, a little bit too conditioned as well. So you can see she's a lot harder in general than a lot of the athletes in the lineup here. And as we move out, she's harder than Laura Lee, who placed above her. She's got a lot more of that kind of lean look, right? You can see the oblique cutting, glute kind of cut here. Quads, lines, everything, a lot leaner in the shoulders and upper body overall too. And this is reflected in back pose, we'll talk about in a second. A little bit too lean, I think, and a little bit too muscular. Kind of pushed the limit of the muscularity. I mean, she's very symmetrical. She does have this hourglass shape, but I think it just took it a little bit too far to that point where, okay, you know, it's not the right thing judges are looking for. It looks a little bit too extreme, if you will, right? So that's kind of how she's pulling that 5th. A lot of people were wondering about Amy too. She's in 6th. You know, Amy has a little bit of an imbalance, in my opinion. Upper body's too big. This is something that was kind of echoed at this Olympia. Symmetry is king. Symmetry is everything. Symmetry is queen. Symmetry, don't mess up the symmetry. Bikini, it's all about upper, lower, left, right symmetry. I think Amy's a little bit too dominant in this look, and also her conditioning kind of, in my opinion, was a little bit off. Like she looks leaner upper body than she does lower body, and so that's kind of that asymmetrical conditioning that does not work very well in this division. And we see as we go out the call out, a lot of athletes that kind of have that look, upper body kind of being developed, but lower body a little bit less developed, kind of moving in that zone there. So that's kind of how I think Issa got that. Laura Lee, though, Laura Lee, interestingly enough, she's got this great shape from the front. If you watched my prediction video, I predicted her to win this year, but you know, that was also before we had seen what was on stage. She didn't have any recent physique updates or anything like that on her Instagram, which is what I was really looking at for my predictions. And I'll tell you what, she's got some asymmetries going on now. It's kind of interesting. We're going to do a separate video that dives into all that. But yeah, she's got this good hourglass shape. Everything's there from the front. It's killer. Like, this is the right look. This is the right shape, the right size, the right proportion, and the right condition, right? Which is 4th place spot is a good spot at Olympia. Let's still keep in mind that, you know, we're talking about points and differences in the top 5. But let's look at the back here. So Laura Lee, you guys, we're going to do a whole separate video on this, but Laura Lee, her glutes are asymmetrical, left to right? So if you can see here, here's the glute coming down and then into the tie-in zone, there's that. And then over here, here's the other one, okay? This is higher up than that one is. If we draw a line across, right? So literally, a lot of people didn't see this. I saw this right away when she came out, and I was like, whoa, that's an asymmetry. Judges are going to pick that up quick, and that's going to hurt her scoring for sure, okay? So this is a common thing that can happen to competitors, and it does happen a lot when you're really hammering specific muscles. If you have any kind of imbalance or in any kind of compensation patterns in your lifts, like you're favoring one side or the other, that can be extremely detrimental, especially when you get your glutes hypertrophy to the level Laura Lee has, right? Like, she's got crazy developed glutes, so this stands out a lot more than it would for most. But yeah, I think that asymmetry is what kind of killed her in that spot. And then we look over here at Issa, and, you know, again, really lean, not a lot of, like, she doesn't have the right fullness coming out of the glute here. Like, she could have more fullness there. Upper body looks very full, very lean, kind of that asymmetrical conditioning. And then as we move out the call out, we're seeing a lot of just differences, conditioning, harder ham tie-ins, softer ones, so on and so forth. Let's look though, you know, like I said, I'm going to do a separate video about Laura Lee too, just going more in depth because I know she was a huge fan favorite. Tons of people predicted her to win. We're going to do a separate video, so make sure you're subbed to the channel. Let's move to the top 3 though and really get into the nitty gritty of the criteria, okay? First, I got to mention this because I keep forgetting until the end of my video. I'm doing a giveaway for a free month of coaching, okay? Ultimate Competitor Coaching Package on Team Flex. We give you custom training, custom nutrition, check-ins, posing, everything you need to be your best competitor no matter what level you are, beginner, never compete, all the way to pro, all right? We do the whole thing. We train you. It's free. And we're giving this away to 15 people, 1 month for free. List is pretty big right now. You still got time to get on it. We're going to draw names. As I'm filming this, it could be today, might be tomorrow. I want to see if we can get more people on here. I want to give you all an opportunity. So just hit that link in the description. Put your email in, and I'll let you know when you win, all right? That's a huge, huge thing. And make sure you subscribe to my channel also, because we got tons more Olympia stuff coming, tons and tons more. I'm going to be doing side-by-side physique comparisons, talking more about everything. Like, you're going to learn a ton being on here and checking this out. So, top 3 here. Jen Dorie wins again, retaining her title. Maureen, former champion, falls into 2nd place. And then we got Ashley K here. She's won many Olympias before, and she's been in the top consistently. This is actually our same exact top 3 from the Olympia prior, okay? Just a different order. Ashley still holding 3rd, Maureen falling to 2nd, Jen coming up from 2nd into 3rd, okay? So this is interesting. A lot of people were rooting for Maureen, you know, to win. A lot of people, I did the polls on Instagram and stuff like that. I was asking people's predictions moving into show. A lot of people thought Maureen for sure. Nobody was questioning that. I had her actually placing lower than this. I imagined her in 4th. I kind of saw based on what I was seeing in her updates that she had overdone the upper body, okay? So in my opinion, Maureen is placing lower and losing the title of Olympia Bikini Champion because she has overdone the muscularity of the upper body. So she had in 2018, and we'll probably do a separate video on that too. That's a good video. I should remember that. But not 2018, in 2022, the year before, right? Basically what happened was she had a very symmetrical physique. She was across the board, just dialed in. It was the right way. Very good symmetry, very good shape, very good overall proportion all across the board. And that was really good for her. And that was kind of what got her into that spot. I mean, a lot of people didn't see Maureen coming up to win the championship that year, and she did. And it was kind of a crazy moment at that time. But yeah, so realistically this year, she kind of went and overdid the upper body. She did a lot more muscle adding here, more in the biceps and the triceps too, which judges don't really care for, don't want to see that. Lats got bigger, kind of waist got thicker, and you know, her glutes didn't really improve. So what kind of happened was the glutes didn't improve in the sense of the upper body doing. So she overall tried to add more muscle, and you can see the glutes did, you know, come up just a little bit in the back pose, but it could also just be a posing tweak, to the point where, though, the upper body is just overdoing it. So I think that's kind of what did that little bit of that asymmetry, a little bit too muscular at that point, too full of physique, I would say. And her conditioning came a little bit off, too. Ashley over here, you know, she's in 3rd consistently. A lot of people I know after Olympia thought that even Maureen should place below Ashley in that sense. And there's an argument for all that. Remember, these are all just points apart, everybody, but some things that make sense and are just clear and present the shoulders are very overdeveloped for Ashley's physique. And, I would say change the pose a bit. Like the way that she poses here, she's got the fullness to the glute. She's got the glutes that she needs, but the pose, the way that she does this, it widens out the waist more and it kind of makes the shoulders look very dominant and it almost hides the glute a bit. I would say that's something that could change because basically you're looking at Jen and you're looking at Maureen doing basically the identical pose and Ashley changing it just to that point where that could be a factor. Like the way you pose when you're at this level in these physiques, it does make a difference. Okay, so Ashley, I think a little bit overdone in the upper body. It looks a little asymmetrical in the way she chose to pose, and that could be the thing. Now let's look at Jen. Clear example of the criteria, like to the key, okay? So she's got the roundness to the shoulders, the development there. It's not overdone. It's not over big. It's not overpowering her physique. That's right there. That's what judges want to see across the board. The fullness to the shoulders doesn't overpower the physique. Arms here, matching that. Like letting the arms basically not be a huge focal point, letting the shoulders control the look of that width, right? So if you had overdone the arms are bigger. Like Maureen's arms look pretty big compared to her upper body. And I have other shots here that are going to show this better in a minute. If you're like looking at this and you're like, I can't see what you're saying, Coach Rice. Stay tuned with me, fam. But yeah, like Jen had the right shape there. Arms are not overpowering. She's got this good taper into the narrow waist. This is what judges want to see right here. Okay, that width tapers down and narrow at the waist. Boom, boom. There it is. There's that first half of our hourglass shape. Then we look lower, glutes fill into the legs. There's the rest, okay? That symmetry and that shape and that proportion is what judges are looking for 100%. So Jen, she brought that. She brought that look, kept the waist very tight, very tiny, tiniest out of this call out for sure. And then look at the glutes here. So very full in the glute. Upper glute is very, very full at that point. Another thing judges want to see, the upper glute gets hammered constantly, and we kind of look at both of these athletes, and it's not to the level of Jen's in that sense, and we'll see that in the back more. But the upper glute is very important. That's going to be the feedback for a lot of you watching. So if you're ever wondering what you should be doing with your glutes, keep hitting the upper glute. Hit it harder and harder and harder because it really matters at all levels. And then, she's got the muscle to match lower body-wise. Hamstrings not overpowering, quads not overpowering. That is the bikini champion physique. You'll notice conditioning too, not super hard. We got very soft lines in the obliques, a little bit in the glute, a little bit in the shoulders. These are the things. These are the target areas. You don't want to be too lean. You don't want to show too much striation. All that can hurt you. Like even Ashley, her abs over here, like this could be an indicator. Judges look at abs, by the way, and they try to see, okay, are you too lean based on that? Like, can I see all of your abs? And, a lot of times if they can see that, it's an indicator to them that you might be too lean. So conditioning is all about showing those soft lines, no deep cuts, no striations, no graininess, stuff like that. So let's pop to back. Back is where everything is won. The back pose in bikini is the king, queen, everything. Bodybuilding's won from the back in general, and especially it is in bikini division. So here's where we get to get a clear example of what I said about Maureen. All right, so let's look over here. Maureen overdoing the muscle on her physique. And I'm not really sure why she chose to do that because she did not have near the muscle, the year prior that she does now. But here's where we're at. So, we got a lot of delts going on here, a lot of shoulders. That looks very, developed from the back. Most developed out of the lineup, I would say, with Ashley coming second after that. And then we look to the lower body, and this is where it kind of screams, okay, overdid it a little bit in some of the glute zone, okay? So she's got a lot more fullness to the glute here, but didn't really pay attention to the upper glute as much. So it looks flat in the upper part and a lot more down here. So it's almost like, kind of didn't bring the right condition in a sense, a lot fuller in the glute, pushing out more, but it makes it look asymmetrical, right? It was obviously an attempt to be symmetrical upper to lower with, all right, let's add more glute if we're going to add more upper. But I mean, like in the front pose, it looks like she almost lost glute. So it's definitely some posing tweaks happening here. It's definitely overall, just a factor that the physique was off, okay? And I think, honestly, she could have, it's points away for her getting to that fourth place slot. Like I mentioned, I think it could easily have happened for her, at least third. I think that physique kind of got pushed too far. You don't want to be too muscular in bikini division, all right? That's important to remember. You don't want to have that. You want to have the shape, you want to have the proportion and the symmetry, but you don't want to be overdone in the sense that, okay, like Maureen's glutes at this point, you look at this and this reminds me of looking at a wellness competitor. Like I'm looking at this, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. You got the tie-in, you got the separation, you got this. It's a lot of hypertrophy, like you could at that point consider, all right, well, that looks similar to wellness more so than these two here. So it's interesting to consider that, right? Like she could have changed her front pose and shown more glute. Maybe that would have been helpful, but even from the back, it's just overpowering, okay? So I think that that's a huge factor. Now let's look over here at Ashley. So Ashley's, again, remember I said I think she has an asymmetry upper to lower. She does, okay? We're looking at the shoulders here, and these are very developed. Arms looking pretty developed. They've got the taper. Everything's good, blah, blah, blah. Lower body, though, this looks like a lacking area to her right here. Like, and again, I could be posing, could be something else. I think it mainly just is needing to change the way that, you know, bringing up the glute structure. So targeting more of the upper glute, important here. Filling out more overall to match this. But realistically, she doesn't have a bad shape or bad proportion, any of that here. Lower body, she's got the soft separation between like glutes and the hams. Everything's there. I think the upper body is just overpowering. It's almost like, you know, just lose a little bit of upper body muscle and balance that out, and boom, that's a really good spot for you. And then we look at Jen, okay? Jen's got the delts, she's got the roundness, she's got the shape. That's good. That's what they want. She's got the good tapered look here. You can see that. And then the glutes, they match the physique, okay? We got the upper glute. That's very pronounced, very well rounded. That's there, okay? Judges are seeing that. They're taking note of that. We could fall into, you know, not being overdone. We got the right shape, the size to the glute, and we got this soft tie-in coming into the hamstrings. This is what judges want in bikini division, okay? And you might look at this and be like, okay, well, Maureen's glutes look a lot more developed and a lot whatever. Yeah, they do, but that's not what judges want. They don't want the most muscular bikini physique. They don't want the most lean bikini physique. They want the most symmetrical bikini physique with the right shape and the right conditioning for that athlete, okay? And so that's going to be different for everybody. So that's definitely, you know, how Jen pulled this off. She just brought all of the right package with everything there, and, you know, it's the spot on with condition. Notice it's not too lean, like we're not seeing cuts and everything in her hamstrings and all that. And it's also not too muscular. It's got the right shape and the right proportion, but it's not overdone. I think this is a clear message from judges to say, all right, we want to return bikini back to its roots. We don't want it to get pushed too far. You know, with like Maureen out here pushing a lot of muscle on the physique. We don't want that. We want instead that right symmetry, shape, proportion, all of that to come together and be at the right level of conditioning, nothing too extreme. We want it to be attainable. It is the introductory division in the women's divisions, right? Then we go up the ladder with, you know, figure and so on and so forth. So this is another clear example of what I'm talking about. I just want to show you these shots here. Make sure you're subbed. If you're this far into the video, make sure you subscribe to my channel. Remember, share it. Help me out. Everybody hates my channel, meaning that YouTube algorithm is putting me out because we're talking about bikini girls. But look here. This really gives you a better, clear example. These shots are from a different camera. They're not the prejudged shots. They're from Wings of Strength and Olympia. But basically what we can see here is a very clear example of what I just said. So you can look at Maureen and you just see, wow, a lot of delts, a lot of muscle, a lot of muscle in the arms, a lot of muscle in the lat, a lot of muscle in the waist, thicker here, a lot of muscle, but not in the front pose. Again, like the upper body looks asymmetrical. It's interesting because from the back it's overpowering, but here, you know, you see a lot of muscle. And then you look at Ashley, right? And you look at over here, and she's got the same kind of gig. A lot of muscle, a lot of delts, a lot of this. It looks very lean, a lot of striation in that sense of the abs. You're seeing little etchings of six packs and obliques and all that. And boom, the glute just doesn't match from this pose, right? So then we look at Jen, and it's all symmetry. Boom, right there, all shape. All glute, all right. Everything is that hourglass physique that judges are looking for. Not over-striated, not over lean. And I mean, obviously, this picture looks like it was filtered or something. I pulled this off the Instagram, but you know, even with the filter, it's not showing too grainy, too lean, any of that, right? And we look from the back. This is where we get to see it again. Really a lot of dominance in Maureen's glutes from this pose. You can see the big shoulders too, everything there. It's just overall too much muscle, and it might just be too much muscle for her physique. She's a shorter athlete, could be a factor, but it definitely looks like too much muscle in that sense. And then, you know, Ashley, same thing we kind of talked about, upper body being dominant more so than lower, needing some work in the upper glute zone. And then we look at Jen. Jen is symmetrical. She's got the shape. She's got it all. It's right there. It's all, you know, in symmetry, all in perfect proportion, upper glutes there, everything. So really your criteria for bikini, ladies and gents, anybody watching, if you want to know where you should be heading, your goal is to focus on your shape, really enhance the shoulders, bring out the development there, bring that roundness, get the waist tight, get the waist tiny, fill out the glutes more, add more shape and size to the glute, really focus on that upper glute overall, bring, you know, that slight separation in the hamstring. hamstrings, okay? Just right here, boom, little bit of separation, ham, glute tie-in, not overdone, not over muscular, just a little bit there, and really prioritize having these areas be your focus, not getting too lean, not getting, obviously not being too soft either, but also not getting too much muscle. Just make sure that your priority becomes shape all the time, not size, not adding more muscle, not getting leaner. I know it's very hard in bikini division to not think about getting leaner and leaner and leaner and leaner, but if we look at our top three, especially compared to the rest of all the bikini girls at Olympia, and we look at, even just the way this call-out place, this top three call-out place, this is a clear message from judges to say, all right, this is the shape, this is the proportion, this is the level of conditioning, this is what we want across the board, and don't be doing anything else. And remember, like I said, this trickles down to even if it's your first competition ever, the criteria is a criteria. Judges are going to be looking for it. Make sure you understand what it is and how to get it, and it's definitely probably not, doing tons and tons of weights and all these different things and trying to chase 3 hours of cardio a day, getting leaner and leaner and leaner. It's really going to come down to maximizing your physique, knowing where each area is, knowing how to bring each area up and what to do. So that's it. That's the criteria. I mean, it's not too dramatically different. It's not much has changed. It's just what you need to know moving into 2024 as far as it goes. I think it's a nice, clear message from judges, and I like that. All right, so if you have any questions on anything, let me know. Comment your thoughts. Did you think Jen should have won? Are you happy with the direction of bikini? Let me know. And remember, YouTube's putting me down, you guys. YouTube's trying to kill me off. So if you can share this with anybody you know or whatever you can do, I really appreciate it. It's going to help me out a ton. All right, thanks for watching. Coach Rye is out.